Chapter 1072. Leg massaging for 100,000 years? Zhou Xuanji was stunned. Such a punishment, this was a little unexpected. Humph. Don't think it's too much. Previously, there was a guy who massaged His Majesty's shoulders for 1,000,000 years and collapsed immediately. A golden armored creature snorted coldly. His tone was full of disdain. Zhou Xuanji was speechless. It sounded serious, but no matter how he thought about it, it was absurd. Could it be that there were other tortures during the shoulder and leg massaging process? Zhou Xuanji followed them while thinking about countermeasures. No way. I can't just sit still. No matter what, I have to try to resist. Zhou Xuanji suddenly entered godless state. His eternal will erupted as he quickly turned around and fled. How dare you? Courting death. Catch him. Don't let him escape. The golden armored creatures roared furiously. They immediately chased after Zhou Xuanji. Zhou Xuanji looked back with a frown. These guys also know godless state? In the absolute pale space, the 9 golden armored creatures chased after Zhou Xuanji. Fortunately, the gap between them and Zhou Xuanji was widening. Although they also knew godless state, Zhou Xuanji had reached the eternal realm in godless state. How could they catch up with him? Unless they had more than one eternal will. After traveling for a while, Zhou Xuanji successfully shook them off. Just in case, he continued to move forward. After flying for 2 hours, he finally exited godless state. He landed in a desert. There was an oasis in front of him. The trees were tall and lush. Before he even got close, he could already smell the fragrance of flowers that seeped into his heart. He scanned the oasis with his eternal will. After confirming that there was no danger in the oasis, he stepped forward. After entering the oasis, he saw a lake in the middle of the forest. The water was blue and the surface of the lake was glowing. At first glance, it looked like the surface of the sea. Zhou Xuanji thought about it and decided to send an order to Zhou Tanhua, telling him to let people enter the Eternal God Gate. Although he had just encountered danger, he had indeed become stronger. After that, he began to search in the forest. What if there is a golden artifact here? After searching for a while, a voice came, "What are you looking for?" Zhou Xuanji looked back in shock and saw the white dragon creature he had met in the absolute time, blinking at him. He was stunned and asked in surprise, "Why are you here? Wasn't the white dragon creature looking for a sword? Why did he come back? There's the aura of that sword here." "I'm looking for them," the white dragon creature replied, appearing very innocent. "Wait, didn't you come out from the Eternal God Gate? How come I didn't sense it before?" Zhou Xuanji asked. Could it be that the sword had just entered the Eternal Gate of God? "No, I came from another door," the white dragon answered. There was another door? The white dragon moved closer to him, sniffed, and said with a frown, "Your aura has changed. It's becoming similar to this door." Zhou Xuanji frowned. What did that mean? Could it be that the spirit sees within the artifacts would assimilate him and the Eternal Gate of God? Zhou Xuanji suddenly became alert. Should he continue to absorb it? Not bad. At least you've become stronger. Keep going, the white dragon said. Zhou Xuanji looked up at it and asked, "If I continue to grow stronger like this, will it be bad for me?" The white dragon shook its head and said, "How can that be? This is the gate of life, a place that allows living beings to become stronger." Life gate? What do you mean? Could it be that the gate you came from represents the opposite of life, the gate of death? Zhou Xuanji asked. The white dragon did not reply but turned around and left. Zhou Xuanji noticed that it could levitate in the air and soar freely. It did not seem to be affected by the flight restriction here. He immediately caught up with it and asked, "You haven't answered me." "I'm not sure either. My memory is very blurry. I want to find that sword. Are you willing to help me? The white dragon turned around and asked. Of course. Zhou Xuanji nodded. Now that he had offended boundless heaven, he would only be safe if he followed the white dragon. But you must help me collect some golden enchanted artifacts. Among them are spirit chi seeds that can help me grow stronger, Zhou Xuanji said. Okay. The white dragon agreed immediately. So easy to talk to? Zhou Xuanji felt strange in his heart. The white dragon seemed to like him a lot and was very obedient to him. Was it pretending, or was there another reason? At this moment, the white dragon opened its mouth suddenly. Its cheeks expanded like a balloon being inflated. Roar, it let out a long roar that shook the heavens and earth. The surrounding forest shook violently. Leaves danced in the wind, and the lake water churned. Swoosh! 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 Streaks of golden light rose up from the lake in an extremely domineering manner. Zhou Xuanji looked at them and was stunned. They were all golden artifacts, just like the ones he encountered before. They were emanating faint spiritual chi ripples. So many golden artifacts were hidden at the bottom of the lake. All of them are for you. Hurry up, I still need to find that sword. The white dragon spoke and urged Zhou Xuanji to absorb the golden artifacts quickly. Zhou Xuanji did not waste any time. He waved his right hand and pulled all the golden artifacts before him. He began absorbing them one by one. Half an hour later, Zhou Xuanji's eternal will grew tremendously. He felt that he was a few times more powerful than when he first arrived. He was fascinated by this feeling that he had not felt for a long time. Under the white dragon's urging, he did not have time to stop and comprehend. He immediately set off. Along the way, Zhou Xuanji asked the white dragon how much it knew about the Eternal God Gate. The white dragon replied that it had been to the 6 realms. It was the most powerful realm it had ever been to so far. It said that it sensed an extremely powerful aura that even it did not dare to provoke. Zhou Xuanji was even more shocked. He did not expect the white dragon to be afraid of supreme heaven. What should I do? He told the white dragon about what happened before. It's okay. If we can't win, we can run, the white dragon replied without a care. How do we leave this realm? Zhou Xuanji asked curiously. It's simple. Just jump out. How? Just jump like that. Zhou Xuanji was speechless. He felt that the white dragon was acting cool. After that, under the white dragon's lead, they collected all the golden artifacts and searched for that sword. Until now, Zhou Xuanji still did not know where the sword came from or what it looked like. The white dragon could not explain it either. Zhou Xuanji could become more powerful anyway, so he did not bother to ask. In the blink of an eye, half a year passed quickly. Zhou Xuanji obtained a great artifact almost every day, strengthening his eternal will. But as time passed, the white dragon grew more and more impatient. It wanted to leave this realm and head to a higher realm. Zhou Xuanji could not even defeat Supreme Heaven. Wouldn't it be seeking death if he went to a higher realm? So, he began to persuade the white dragon. Maybe the sword was in the lower realm. After all, the white dragon sensed that the sword was in the boundless universe. Which meant that the sword had just entered the Eternal God Gate. The nearest living beings would not be too powerful. Chapter 1073. After Zhou Xuanji told the white dragon about his idea, the white dragon felt that it made sense and was prepared to bring him down to the lower realm. At this moment, boom, rumble, lightning gathered in the blue sky. A violent gale blew, and a powerful aura enveloped the entire world. Zhou Xuanji frowned. This aura was so powerful. He had become much more powerful, but facing this aura, he felt like a mortal facing a god. Supreme Heaven. Other than him, no one else could give Zhou Xuanji such a horrifying pressure. Humph. Do you think you can swallow this emperor's treasure just because you want to? No matter how much you swallow, you must make it up to me. An extremely majestic voice came. It was deafening, and the thunderclouds billowed violently, as though the sky would collapse at any moment. Zhou Xuanji quickly looked at the white dragon and asked, "Why aren't you jumping?" The white dragon replied, "He has sealed the space. We can't jump. What should we do?" "Don't worry. I'm here. I'm very powerful." "That's good." Zhou Xuanji heaved a long sigh. It's good that the white dragon is confident. At this moment, the thunderclouds parted, and a giant golden hand descended from the sky. It was as massive as the creation god mountain. The white dragon soared up and tried to break through the giant golden hand. Zhou Xuanji looked at it expectantly. This was the most powerful genius in history that even the ancestor master was impressed with. The white dragon had a mysterious background. If it could really resist supreme heaven, it would be extremely powerful. The white dragon sped up suddenly. Streaks of white silk wrapped around its body, and a majestic aura burst out, causing Zhou Xuanji's robe to flutter violently. He opened his eyes wide. So powerful. He did not expect the white dragon to be so powerful. It was completely different from its usual adorable self. Under Zhou Xuanji's expectant gaze, the white dragon crashed into the giant golden hand's palm. Shortly after, the giant golden hand closed its palm and retracted back into the clouds. Everything returned to normal. Zhou Xuanji was stunned. What happened? The white dragon was captured? What the hell? Zhou Xuanji was stunned. This was not how things were developing. Humph, you come too. A cold snort came from supreme heaven as a giant black hand descended from the sky. It was so fast that even Zhou Xuanji, who was in the eternal realm, couldn't react in time. There was a loud bang. Zhou Xuanji's eternal will was heavily injured, and he instantly fell unconscious. Zhou Xuanji dreamed. He dreamed that he was running back and forth between the two doors, trying to find a way out, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't escape. Going round and round, it was always the two doors that surrounded him. He woke up with a start. The white dragon flew in front of him, causing him to shrink back in fear. Memories flooded his mind, and his consciousness began to clear. He was captured by the boundless heavens. He immediately stood up and slapped his surroundings. They were above the clouds. This cloud was dozens of feet wide, and there were countless golden lightning bolts flashing on its edges. Zhou Xuanji looked back and saw a giant on the horizon. He was incredibly majestic and was lying on the trunk of a towering tree. That person was wearing a loose blue robe with cloud patterns. His waist was covered by the sea of clouds, and the area above his neck was also covered by the higher clouds. It was impossible to estimate how gigantic his body was, let alone the giant tree he was lying on. Just one trunk of the giant tree was as big as his body. Supreme Heaven? Zhou Xuanji frowned. He looked closer and realized that Supreme Heaven's arms were densely packed with living beings. They were massaging Supreme Heaven. Is there really such a punishment? Zhou Xuanji looked back at the white dragon and said bitterly, "Didn't you say that with you around, there's no need to panic?" The white dragon blinked and said, "Aren't you still alive?" Zhou Xuanji was speechless. At this moment, a golden armored creature flew over. He stopped outside the clouds and said coldly, "The two of you coveted His Majesty's artifacts. Your punishment is to massage His Majesty's shoulders for 30 million years. 30 million years? Zhou Xuanji and the white dragon opened their eyes wide. Crazy. He could not help but ask, "Can your Majesty sit for 30 million years without moving? Isn't he afraid of hemorrhoids?" "What is hemorrhoid?" the golden armored creature asked back. Zhou Xuanji fell silent. "Prepare yourselves. 3 days later, you will receive your punishment," the golden armored creature said before leaving. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. Zhou Xuanji sighed. He turned around to look at Supreme Heaven's majestic body and began to think of a way to escape. The white dragon came up to him and said, "Don't panic. I'm very powerful. I will help you escape." Zhou Xuanji rolled his eyes. He thought about it and sent his consciousness into the Master Emperor's door. "Ancestor Lord Spirit, come out quickly. I've been captured by Supreme Heaven," Zhou Xuanji urged in his mind. A while later, the Ancestor Lord Spirit's voice came, "Supreme Heaven? He's still alive?" "Yes. He's the tyrant of the Eternal God Gate. He can do whatever he wants in this realm," Zhou Xuanji replied helplessly. Before he came, he never thought that he would end up like this. The Ancestor Lord Spirit floated out immediately. The white dragon was startled. He looked at the Ancestor Lord Spirit with his eyes wide open. The Ancestor Lord Spirit looked at Supreme Heaven far away and sighed in amazement, "It's him indeed. I didn't expect him to be alive and well. Seems like I've underestimated the Eternal God Gate. This should be the Life Gate. If it's the Death Gate, your situation will be even worse." Life Gate and Death Gate. There were two Eternal God Gates of opposite ends indeed. Zhou Xuanji thought in silence. "Take out the Master Emperor's door later. He will let you go once he sees it," the Ancestor Lord Spirit said before returning to Zhou Xuanji's body. "What's your relationship?" Zhou Xuanji asked in his heart. "He's my little disciple," the Ancestor said. "Teacher and disciple. No wonder. That's right. With Supreme Heaven's talent, only the Ancestor Lord was qualified to teach him." Zhou Xuanji thought as he sat down on the ground. He took out the Master Emperor's door and placed it aside, waiting for Supreme Heaven to discover it. The white dragon opened its eyes wide. It circled around the Master Emperor's door and cried out in fear, "Why do you have this door?" Zhou Xuanji glanced at it and asked, "What's wrong?" "This is the Death Gate." "Oh? What?" Zhou Xuanji opened his eyes wide and jumped up in fright. The white dragon trembled and said, "As long as one enters the Death Gate, one's inner demon will be duplicated. That soul just now should be the inner demon." Having heard this, Zhou Xuanji's hairs stood on end. The Ancestor Lord Spirit in his body was not the Ancestor Lord's soul? It was formed by the Ancestor Lord's inner demon? If that was the case, then everything before, just thinking about it made Zhou Xuanji feel a chill down his spine. He hurriedly asked in his heart, "Is what it said true?" The Ancestor Lord's Spirit did not reply. Zhou Xuanji's heart was in a mess, and he fell into deep thought. Fortunately, he had suppressed the Ancestor Lord's Spirit in the Master Emperor's door, or else the Ancestor Lord's Spirit might possess him. It was very possible. What should he do now? How should he deal with the Master Emperor's door? Chapter 1074. After knowing that the Master Emperor door might be the Eternal Divine Gate, Zhou Xuanji panicked. He suddenly did not know how to deal with the Master Emperor door. He began to guess the Ancestor Lord's purpose. The white dragon circled around him and stared at the Death Gate. Although it's a Death Gate, it does not have any death chi. It's like an ordinary gate. Could it be sealed? With this, Zhou Xuanji looked at it and asked, "You mean that this Death Gate is safe for now?" "Yes." "Then why are you making such a big fuss?" Zhou Xuanji was furious. He suddenly felt that the white dragon was pretending to be innocent. It must be scheming. It was teasing him on purpose. "I was shocked too," the white dragon said pitifully. Zhou Xuanji threw it a stare and asked, "Then what do you think I should do with it?" "I'm not sure either." "Why don't you throw it away?" The white dragon replied. "So casual?" Zhou Xuanji frowned. This guy was unreliable indeed. He looked at the Supreme Heaven Dome in the distance and thought, should I just give the main monarch door to the Supreme Heaven Dome? No. What if this was the Ancestor Lord's scheme? It might want to take this opportunity to possess Supreme Heaven. With Supreme Heaven's physical body, the Ancestor Lord's spirit could rule over all living beings. Or was he going to tell the Supreme Heavens the truth? Zhou Xuanji sat down and began to think. The white dragon did not disturb him but wandered around as though it was looking for something. For the next day, Zhou Xuanji did not speak. There was no night here. Other than them, Zhou Xuanji could not see any other imprisoned beings. The other beings were massaging Supreme Heaven's legs and shoulders. Silence. No one finished their words. The world was in deathly silence. The next day. Supreme Heaven. Zhou Xuanji cried out involuntarily. Do you remember the Master Emperor door? His voice resounded across the sea of clouds. After he spoke, the world fell into deathly silence again. There was a sense of pressure as though a storm was brewing. Supreme Heaven did not move and did not seem to hear him. Zhou Xuanji hesitated. Should he shout again? At this moment, a pair of golden eyes appeared in front of him, staring at him coldly. Zhou Xuanji immediately took out the Master Emperor door and said, "Its owner said that you would be able to recognize this door." The golden eye didn't reply. It continued to stare at him, not even looking at the main emperor's door. Zhou Xuanji's heart jolted. Could it be that the First Lord's spirit had tricked him? After a long while, the voice of the boundless heavens resounded, "How about giving this door to me?" Zhou Xuanji said hesitantly, "This might be the death gate." "I know. Do as you wish." The golden eye burst forth with resplendent golden light and directly put away the main emperor door. Then, the golden eye disappeared. Zhou Xuanji was stunned. "That's it? Why won't you let us go?" Zhou Xuanji frowned again. He could only wait. The primogenitor spirit was once sealed in the Master Emperor's gate by him. Now, it could be said that it had left him and fallen into the hands of the boundless heavens. Zhou Xuanji suddenly felt relaxed. He finally got rid of this hot potato. The white dragon came over and said, "Let's escape. The barrier around us has disappeared." Disappeared? Zhou Xuanji turned around and saw the golden bolts of lightning dissipating at a speed visible to the naked eye. Seeing this, Zhou Xuanji immediately flew toward the horizon. If the boundless heavens suddenly changed its mind, it would be bad. The white dragon quickly followed behind him. After they were far away from the boundless heavens, the white dragon suddenly attached itself to Zhou Xuanji's back and brought him out of this realm. Zhou Xuanji's body trembled. The indescribable space-time tremor made his body extremely uncomfortable. It was hard to imagine how sturdy the space-time boundary here was. Even he, who was at the eternal realm, felt uncomfortable, let alone other living beings. The discomfort soon ended. Zhou Xuanji's vision blurred. The next second, a vast, green land appeared before his eyes. He was falling from the sky and smashing toward the ground. There was still a flight restriction here. The white dragon was gone. Zhou Xuanji quickly adjusted his posture. He descended faster and faster. Boom! He landed on the peak of a huge mountain that was tens of thousands of meters tall. His feet stepped on the mountain peak, causing it to crack open, and countless cracks extended downwards. Next, a deafening explosion occurred. The entire towering mountain was pulverized. Zhou Xuanji fell down with the stone rain. He landed on a pile of rocks, safe and sound. He looked up in all directions, trying to find the white dragon, but he could not sense its aura. Strange? Why did it disappear? Could it be that something happened just now and it abandoned me ahead of time? Zhou Xuanji thought with a frown. He dashed toward a direction. The white dragon was unfathomable. It would surely find him. Rather than being confused, it was better to look for serendipity nearby. In a pale space, the Ancestor Lord's spirit hovered. A pair of golden eyes was in front of it. Both sides were silent. No one broke the silence. Boom! A bolt of red lightning suddenly struck down and landed between the two of them. The boundless heaven's voice came, "Do you really not have anything to say to me?" The Ancestor Lord's spirit sighed, "I'm already in this state. What else is there to say? You owe me, and you intend to brush it off like this? Do you believe that I will crush your remnant soul?" The boundless heaven's voice came again. Its tone was filled with extreme hatred and anger. The Ancestor Lord's spirit was silent. The golden eyes that represented the boundless heavens narrowed suddenly. Boom! A horrifying golden ocean swept over and engulfed the Ancestor Lord's spirit. The Ancestor Lord's spirit was like a candle flame in a violent gale that could be extinguished at any moment. "You want to kill your teacher?" the Ancestor Lord's spirit asked with gritted teeth. "Tell me, where is my sovereign serendipity?" the Ancestor Lord's spirit roared with a low voice. The Ancestor Lord's spirit mocked, "Your sovereign serendipity? Wasn't it given to you by me?" The Ancestor Lord's spirit did not reply. The golden eyes continued to stare at it with hatred. "It has already turned into a sword. I have been sealed for countless years and do not know where it is. You have to find it yourself," the Ancestor Lord's spirit said. "A sword?" The Ancestor Lord frowned. Not to mention the endless universe, there were countless swords in the eternal divine gate. How could he find the sovereign serendipity? His first reaction was that he was fooled. "You should know about the little fellow from before. That's why you didn't kill it. It is also searching for that sword. It might represent one of your senior brothers or that existence that cannot be recognized. Whoever finds that sword will be able to grasp the sovereign serendipity and regain control of everything," the Ancestor Lord's spirit said. The Ancestor Lord's spirit's eyes flashed. "The gate of death has fallen into the gate of life. I hope that you can combine them and purify all the heart demon imprints in the gate of death." Hearing this, the Ancestor Lord looked up and said, "Do you know what the consequences of doing this will be?" Chapter 1075. Fortune and misfortune go hand in hand. If you want to achieve a higher position, you must bear all of this. The Ancestor Lord's spirit's voice came again, which displeased Supreme Heaven. He mocked, "You're always like this, trying to shirk your responsibilities. You're the Ancestor Lord of eternal glory indeed." The Ancestor Lord's spirit was silent. At this moment, the pair of golden eyes of the supreme firmament suddenly shot out two beams of golden light, directly smashing the main emperor door into pieces. Zhou Xuanji walked slowly in the majestic forest. It had been 6 hours since he came to this world. He did not find an artifact with a spirit ocean, which made him frustrated. Could it be that those artifacts belonged to Supreme Heaven's world? If he were to meditate and cultivate bitterly, it would be too unbearable. Zhou Xuanji thought as he walked forward. He wanted to find a place to sit down and cultivate for a while. He could not keep running around. At this moment, he suddenly sensed a familiar aura. Although it was faint, he still sensed it. Gu Juejiao. That guy came to the Eternal God Gate long ago, and he encountered him in this world. Zhou Xuanji hesitated a little and decided to talk to Gu Juejiao. Although the two had a blood feud, they got to know each other after a fight. They were both endless overlords, so they could talk. Half an hour later, Zhou Xuanji found Gu Juejiao beside a massive lake. Gu Juejiao was sitting facing the lake. Strands of visible heat surrounded his body, and the lake water before him was boiling. Zhou Xuanji walked toward him slowly without hiding his aura. "I thought you were not coming?" Gu Juejiao asked with his back facing him. Zhou Xuanji smiled and said, "I was too careful. The entire endless universe is attracted by the Eternal God Gate. Even if I don't come, I can't change anything." He came to Gu Juejiao's back, about 10 meters away. Sensing Gu Juejiao's horrifying aura, he was shocked in his heart. How many years has it been? This guy has grown so much more powerful. It seems like he has already attained the eternal realm. Zhou Xuanji was terrified. If he came later, wouldn't Gu Juejiu be much more powerful than him? At that time, Western Infinity would surely make a comeback and attack the Sword Emperor Divine Court. Are you curious about how I became so strong? Gu Juejiu asked. Zhou Xuanji did not feel awkward and asked, I just came here. It seems that every realm is different. I encountered the Supreme Firmament in the upper realm and almost died. The opportunity there was seized by the Supreme Firmament. Gu Juejiu suddenly turned his head. He was surprised and asked, Supreme Firmament? The legendary little disciple of the founding master? Zhou Xuanji nodded. He did not expect Gu Juejiu to have heard of it. It seemed like the Western Limitless had a very deep foundation, being able to come into contact with the history of the limitless universe. Gu Juejiu frowned and murmured, luckily, I didn't go up, or I would have died. Zhou Xuanji shook his head and said with a smile, I won't die. Boundless Heaven's hobby is different. He briefly described what had happened before. As for the white dragon, he did not mention a word about it. After hearing this, Gu Juejiu sighed and said, as expected of the ancient sages, they are broad-minded. Zhou Xuanji rolled his eyes, he really knew how to boast. Did this guy think that the Supreme Firmament could hear him? The sovereign serendipity that I mentioned before, are you willing to go with me? Gu Juejiu glanced at Zhou Xuanji and asked indifferently. Zhou Xuanji raised his brow. It seemed like this guy did not have the confidence to obtain the sovereign serendipity alone. Since he was already here, he might as well cooperate with him. Okay, you already have a clue? Zhou Xuanji asked. Gu Juejiu got up immediately with a proud smile, I found it 30 years ago. I covered the area, and no one can find it. Since you found it, why didn't you obtain the sovereign serendipity? Zhou Xuanji asked curiously. There must be danger. Gu Juejiu said helplessly, the sovereign serendipity is protected by a stone statue. If you just get close, it will not alarm the stone statue. But the sovereign serendipity is inside the stone statue. Once you touch it or the sovereign serendipity, the stone statue will revive. If I was not careful enough and tried to use my clone, I might have been destroyed. At the mention of this matter, he revealed a look of lingering fear. So that's it. Bring me to see it. Zhou Xuanji said straightforwardly. Okay. The two moved out immediately. Along the way, Gu Juejiu began to talk about his encounters over the years. It turned out that he was not in this realm from the beginning. He explored 9 realms in total and was surrounded by danger. Finally, he obtained eternity with a gem that contained eternal will. He called it the Eternity Gem. The Eternity Gem was formed by the will left behind by the previous eternal beings. Although it did not contain massive power, it could guide living beings to the eternal realm. Gu Juejiu's cultivation was already outstanding. With just a little guidance, he could soar into the sky. Zhou Xuanji immediately remembered it. If he could get a few eternity gems, the Sword Emperor Divine Court would soar. Don't even think about it. After so many years, I've only found one, Gu Juejiu said. He had also thought about Zhou Xuanji's idea. 12 hours later. The two stopped on a cliff. Below them was a boundless wasteland. At the end of the horizon was a towering tree that connected the sky and the earth. The tree's leaves were green, and many flying beasts were circling it. The beasts that could not be affected by the flight restriction were definitely not simple. Seems like someone else found it, Zhou Xuanji said with a faint smile. Following his gaze, a white-robed man was walking on the wasteland to the east. Zhou Xuanji noticed the sword in the white-robed man's hand. Could he be the one that the white dragon was looking for? No. There were many people who used swords. Moreover, it was in a scabbard. He was not sure if it was a saber or a sword. Gu Juejiu frowned and said, "Let's use our duplicates first." After that, he sent out a duplicate. Zhou Xuanji also sent out a duplicate. The two duplicates immediately jumped off the cliff and ran toward the towering tree that was as massive as the creation god mountain. Once they moved, the white-robed man noticed them too. The white-robed man frowned. He did not expect there to be other living beings nearby. And they were all eternal beings. He immediately drew his saber. His saber was perfectly straight and looked like a sword. He did not attack Zhou Xuanji or Gu Juejiu but sped up toward the towering tree. The three began to compete in speed. Zhou Xuanji entered godly blankness straightaway. He turned into a stream of purple light and dashed forward, trying to overtake the white-robed man. At this moment, the white-robed man's body suddenly spun and turned into a horizontal tornado. He wreaked havoc and left a long ravine along the way. Gu Juejiu's body burned with a flame aura as he sped up continuously. The three of them created such a huge commotion that the flying beasts swooped down toward them. All sorts of strange screeches resounded across the sky. Countless saber chi shot out from the tornado formed by the white-robed man wantonly. The flying beasts' blood splattered everywhere, and some were crushed into minced meat on the spot. It was extremely domineering. Chapter 1076. Zhou Xuanji relied on godly forlorn mode, and no beast could touch him. He did not fly too quickly but followed Gu Juejiu's clone. Only Gu Juejiu knew where the sovereign serendipity was after all. The towering tree in front of them was massive. As they got closer, they could sense how majestic the tree was. It was like looking up to a great mountain. Although Gu Juejiu was just a clone, he was very powerful and was not stopped at all. The white-robed man was powerful too. The three of them advanced together. They came to the towering tree. They soared up together. This leap caused the ground to shatter. "Follow me," Gu Juejiu said. Zhou Xuanji did the same even without him saying so. The white-robed man glanced at Gu Juejiu but did not pursue him. Instead, he flew toward another direction. Gu Juejiu smiled mockingly. He led Zhou Xuanji around the tree trunk and flew upward. About 20 breaths later, the two landed in a tree hole. The hole was dark and bottomless. Its inside, Gu Juejiu took a deep breath and said, "Why don't we go in directly?" Zhou Xuanji asked. "Wait. The mechanisms here are ever-changing. I can't tell if it's an innate restriction or a spell formation," Gu Juejiu replied. He flipped his right hand, took out a rock, and threw it into the hole. The sound of the rock rolling down the slope could be heard clearly. But the sound soon stopped. Boom! The entire tree trunk began to shake violently, as though a massive creature was about to charge out from the tree hole. Zhou Xuanji and Gu Juejiu's expressions changed drastically. They quickly dodged. A wave of horrifying blue flames swept out, which shook everyone's heart. It looked like it could burn the sky. But the leaves were not lit up, as though the blue flames had no temperature. After the flames died down, the two returned to the tree hole. They looked down but still could not see anything. "What about now?" Zhou Xuanji asked. Gu Juejiu took out another rock and threw it down. A violent gale blew toward them, and they dodged again. This gale was extremely horrifying. It contained a powerful corrosive power that could be sensed even from a distance away. After the gale subsided, Zhou Xuanji did not get closer. He watched Gu Juejiu continue to probe. The cycle repeated itself. After a few hundred rounds, Gu Juejiu let out a long breath and said, "Everything should be fine now, we can go down." Zhou Xuanji was speechless. He really wanted to know which immoral person made so many restrictive mechanisms. The two of them entered the tree hole and quickly flew downwards. Through the darkness, light appeared below. At the end, a well-lit underground palace appeared before Zhou Xuanji's eyes. The stone walls and tree trunks were inlaid with gems of various colors, illuminating the entire underground palace. Below them was a lake, and in the middle of the lake was a piece of land. A stone statue stood on the land. The stone statue looked like a human, but not a human. It looked more like an ape. The ape was holding a purple crystal the size of a head. This crystal was in the shape of a cube. It was sparkling and translucent, and there were countless tiny specks of light inside. It looked like a miniature starry sky. Is that the opportunity of supremacy? So it's actually like this. Zhou Xuanji mumbled to himself. He always thought that the sovereign serendipity was in the form of light. Gu Juejiu's eyes were filled with passion. He held back his excitement and said, "If we get the sovereign serendipity, we can unify the endless universe. The opportunity is right before our eyes. If we get it, we can stand shoulder to shoulder with the ancient sovereign, or even the illusory primogenitor lord." Zhou Xuanji shook his head and said, "The key is how to get it." As soon as he saw the stone statue of the ape, he was inexplicably terrified. His instincts told him not to get close. This horror made it difficult for him to possess the purple crystal. "I called you here to think of a way together. Don't just ask me. Did I ask you to come and share the serendipity directly?" Gu Juejiu snorted coldly. Zhou Xuanji rubbed his chin and began thinking. The two of them circled around the ape stone statue. The underground palace returned to silence. He thought about it for a few days. Until an uninvited guest barged in. It was the white-robed man whom he met earlier. Seeing him, Gu Juejiu's face turned dark, and a murderous aura exploded from him. The white-robed man said, "You can't get it. Why don't you work together with me? Or else, we can only watch. Do you have a way?" Gu Juejiu said unpleasantly. "Of course I do. I come from the eternal god race and have a deep understanding of the sovereign serendipity. I might have a way," the white-robed man replied calmly. After that, he flipped his left hand, and a bead that was burning with flames appeared. "What are you trying to do?" Gu Juejiu asked with a frown. The white-robed man replied, "This is a past and present bead. It can restore everything that happened here in the past. As long as we understand the origin of this stone statue, we will know how to break it." The flame bead flew toward the ape stone statue. Gu Juejiu wanted to stop it, but he had no choice. He might as well take a look. The flame bead stopped on the ape stone statue's head. Flames billowed, and a wave of radiance spread out. Next, many illusions appeared in the underground palace. The illusions changed extremely quickly, and the scenes were dazzling. Zhou Xuanji and Gu Juejiu looked at them seriously. Soon, Gu Juejiu's expression changed. His body trembled as though he saw something horrifying. Just when Zhou Xuanji was about to ask, the illusion stopped suddenly. He saw a silhouette walking up to the ape stone statue. That silhouette was very familiar to him. Sword Emperor. Isn't this the Sword Emperor who taught me the exterminating Dao in the future? Hold on. Could it be that the era of the Sword Emperor was not the future but the past? But that's not right. The original owner was the earliest existence. There was no legend of the Sword Emperor. The Sword Emperor cried silently at the ape stone statue. His posture seemed hysterical, as though he was complaining about something. Next, the Sword Emperor knelt down and cried bitterly. Finally, the purple crystal in the ape stone statue's hand sucked the Sword Emperor away. The illusions continued to change. He saw another silhouette. This person was also someone he was familiar with. His son. Zhou Tanhua. Zhou Tanhua walked up to the ape stone statue with his sword. He opened his mouth, but no one knew what he was saying. After a while, he suddenly raised his sword and pointed it at the ape stone statue. The scene became blurry. Zhou Tanhua stabbed the ape stone statue with his sword. Next, the purple crystal burst into light and engulfed him. All the illusions came to an abrupt end. Zhou Xuanji woke up with a start. Gu Juejiu, who was next to him, was panting heavily. Cold sweat was flowing down his back. The white-robed man, who was not far away, also had an ugly expression. Obviously, they had all seen something that terrified them. Gu Juejiu looked up at Zhou Xuanji and asked, "What did you see?" Zhou Xuanji replied, "I saw an old friend." "I saw myself," Gu Juejiu said in horror. "Myself?" Zhou Xuanji frowned and looked at him in surprise. The white-robed man took a deep breath and said, "I saw the two of you. You wanted to destroy it, but you were engulfed by it. Strange, did my ancient and present pearl malfunction?" He looked at the ape stone statue again and suddenly felt that it was very strange. Although its eyes were carved in stone, they seemed to be smiling. Chapter 1077. It should be the inner demon. It let us see what we are most afraid of. Gu Juejiu analyzed. Zhou Xuanji heard him and felt that it made sense. The scene just now really scared him. The appearance of the Sword Emperor made him doubt the reality of the spacetime he was in and doubt his own existence. The appearance of Zhou Tanhua made him afraid that his flesh and blood had encountered an accident. It might not be true. Perhaps this was a Supreme Being's fortuitous opportunity's defensive restriction, causing those who wanted to seize it to feel fear and give up. The white-clothed man frowned and said, "If that's the case, then I'm not sure how we should seize it." Gu Juejiu glared at him and shouted, "If that's the case, please leave. If you can't help, then scram." He did not want to share the supreme opportunity with another person. "You guys need my power. Otherwise, you guys won't be able to obtain it. You guys don't even dare to use your true bodies to come here. How are you going to obtain the Paragon's fortuitous encounter?" The white-robed man shook his head. "Are you the deity?" Gu Juejiu asked impatiently. "That's right." The man in white nodded. Gu Juejiu and Zhou Xuanji were both stunned. Was this guy not afraid of death? How dare he use his real body? The white-robed man continued, "My name is Huang Bai, and my original body has already been refined into this white robe. It is sufficient for me to be in an invincible position. I will stay behind and help you block all attacks. As a reward, we will share the Paragon's great opportunity together. The Paragon's great opportunity doesn't belong to just one person. You should all be clear about this." His main body was refined into white clothes? Was there such a thing? Zhou Xuanji looked at Gu Juejiu with a strange expression. Gu Juejiu was the one who discovered the sovereign's opportunity, so it was up to him to decide. However, once the danger of the sovereign's fortuitous opportunity was over, the three of them would probably have to fight it out. Gu Juejiu definitely wanted to take everything for himself. Obtaining a supreme opportunity was for the sake of dominating the boundless universe. How could there be an equal division? Gu Juejiu thought for a while and nodded. Meanwhile, outside the towering tree, on the cliff, Gu Juejiu's original body said to Zhou Xuanji's original body, "Let's get ready to go at any time." Zhou Xuanji nodded. He knew that the reason why Gu Juejiu told him this was not because he was close to Gu Juejiu, but because Gu Juejiu was afraid that he could not defeat Huang Bai. Huang Bai landed in front of the human ape statue and started to walk around it, observing it carefully. At first glance, it seemed as if he knew a lot about the stone ape statues. Is there something wrong with the eternal god race's people? Or is this the first time they've left their race? Zhou Xuanji thought to himself. Then, he turned his attention to the stone statue of the ape. After thinking about it, he suggested, "Why don't we forcefully take it and see what the consequences are? Even if this stone statue can be revived, we can still feel its strength." Subconsciously, Gu Juejiu wanted to scold him for being an idiot. But on second thought, he realized that he could use the stone statue to kill Huang Bai. Zhou Xuanji was not as cunning as Gu Juejiu thought. He really wanted to see the power of the stone ape statue. Huang Bai had no objections. That was what he thought as well. He turned to the stone statue of the ape and reached out to grab the purple crystal. His hand had just touched the purple crystal. Boom! A terrifying aura directly sent him flying. The entire underground palace shook violently, and the stone statue of the ape slowly stood up. It held the purple crystal tightly in its right hand and raised its left hand with its fingers facing outwards. Zhou Xuanji sensed danger. He quickly created 2 swords of light and prepared for battle. Gu Juejiu also used his divine ability. Strands of intense flames wrapped around his body, and his aura was imposing. Even though it was just a clone, it was powerful. They were eternal beings after all. Swoosh! 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 Numerous stone snakes shot out from the stone statue's fingers toward Zhou Xuanji and the others like a rainstorm. Huang Bai drew his saber to defend. Zhou Xuanji and Gu Juejiu also began to defend. The 2 swords were as fast as lightning. Zhou Xuanji's stone snakes were cut down as soon as they got close. However, there was no end to the stone snakes, and their numbers increased instead. Soon, a stone snake bit Zhou Xuanji's neck. He instinctively used his eternal will to defend. In the end, he was petrified without any change. Once he was petrified, Gu Juejiu was petrified as well. Only Huang Bai was still resisting. Huang Bai appeared to be very relaxed. He was still getting closer to the stone statue of the ape. If it's only this much, he mumbled to himself and immediately sped up. At this moment, the stone statue moved suddenly. Bomb! Huang Bai was hit in the abdomen by the stone statue's knee. Next, he was sent flying and crashed into the mountain wall. The underground palace shook violently as though it would collapse at any moment. Huang Bai opened his eyes with great difficulty. Even with the protection of his main body, Bai, that collision made him feel as though his soul was about to leave his body. Such power, Huang Bai gritted his teeth and dodged quickly. Boom! The stone statue smashed toward him like a cannonball. It smashed into the mountain wall where he was just standing and created a large hole. Following this, the stone statue continued to chase after Huang Bai. Huang Bai was helpless. He quickly came to Gu Juejiu's side and pressed his right hand on Gu Juejiu's shoulder before disappearing. He came behind Zhou Xuanji and pressed his shoulder as well. The 2 of them immediately stopped being petrified. They immediately ran away and stayed away from the stone statue. This is what you wanted to see. Gu Juejiu roared at Zhou Xuanji. Zhou Xuanji ignored him and stared at the stone statue. The stone statue charged over quickly, and its target was Huang Bai. Huang Bai slashed with his saber, and his saber chi exploded like a gigantic lotus toward the stone statue. A deafening explosion came. The stone statue charged out and scathed and slammed into Huang Bai again. Huang Bai was slammed into the lake below by the stone statue. Zhou Xuanji came to the spot where the stone statue was and found a notch. More accurately, it was a cave entrance. It was pitch black below, and he could not see what was below. He immediately dove in. Gu Juejiu's expression changed and dove in as well. Only Huang Bai was still being beaten. Damn! Huang Bai noticed their actions and gritted his teeth. As he dove down, Zhou Xuanji continued to increase his speed. He swept the eternal will downward, but he could not find the bottom. How deep was this cave? Could there really be a sovereign serendipity hidden down there? Gu Juejiu's voice came from behind. He thought that the purple crystal in the stone statue's hand was the sovereign serendipity. But in reality, no one knew what the sovereign serendipity looked like. Zhou Xuanji replied, "I'm not sure. It might not be. Because that guy did not chase after us. His reaction was strange. If there was a sovereign serendipity hidden down there, the stone statue guarding the sovereign serendipity would stop them at all costs and not focus on Huang Bai. Gu Juejiu frowned. He suddenly had a bad feeling. Outside, Zhou Xuanji's original body asked Gu Juejiu, "Say, how did you know that this is the sovereign serendipity?" Gu Juejiu was a little stunned and said hesitantly, "It should be here. My intuition told me that the moment I saw the crystal, I felt that it was the sovereign serendipity." Zhou Xuanji, end of chapter. Chapter 1078. After entering the bottomless pit, Zhou Xuanji and Gu Juejiu continued to fall. This fall lasted for several hours. They did not reach the bottom. Gu Juejiu could not help but say, "Could this be a restrictive spell formation? There's no end to it. They could not go back even if they wanted to. The eternal divine gate forbade flying after all. This might be a trap. Let's wait and see. If it doesn't work, we will give up on our current clones," Zhou Xuanji replied. They were just clones anyway, so it was not a big deal. Gu Juejiu nodded. They continued to fall. At the same time, their original bodies sent out clones toward the underground palace in the huge tree. When the clones arrived, Huang Bai was still fighting with the ape statue. Noticing their arrival, Huang Bai immediately cried out, "Come and help me. The destroyed parts cannot be recovered. This is its weakness." Zhou Xuanji and Gu Juejiu heard him and attacked immediately. Boom! Zhou Xuanji slashed at the ape statue. Sword chi exploded and shook the underground palace. However, the ape statue could not even leave a single piece of stone. Too hard. Zhou Xuanji cursed in his heart. Is this a weakness? This is its strength. It was precisely because the stone ape statue was too hard and had boundless strength that it was so terrifying. If he could destroy it, he would not have to go through so much trouble. Not only Zhou Xuanji, but Gu Juejiu also cursed out loud. How do we destroy it? We can't win. Let's run. Gu Juejiu had already decided to give up. After that, he crashed into the ape statue and was blasted apart. Zhou Xuanji no longer dodged. As soon as he stopped, the stone statue of the ape swung its leg and kicked his doppelganger until it exploded. Far away, outside the huge tree, Zhou Xuanji and Gu Juejiu stood on the cliff with a frown. Forget it. Maybe it's not the sovereign serendipity. Even if it is, we are not powerful enough. Let's not force it. Zhou Xuanji sighed. At the same time, he released his clone from the bottomless pit and gave up completely. Gu Juejiu gritted his teeth and could only give up. He was in despair. It's too difficult. How can I obtain the sovereign serendipity? Gu Juejiu was driven mad. He suddenly wanted to destroy this world. Boom! The trunk of the towering tree exploded, and Huang Bai flew out from the billowing smoke and dust. His body was covered in blood, and he was in a sorry state. However, his white robe was undamaged. As soon as he flew out, the giant beasts circling around the towering tree attacked them. Fortunately, his speed was extremely fast. Those giant beasts couldn't catch up to him at all. He quickly landed in front of Zhou Xuanji. Huang Bai wiped off the bloodstains on his face. His expression was unsightly as he said, "Are you sure this is a supreme opportunity? Why do I feel like this is a trap?" Hearing that, Gu Juejiu said angrily, "We didn't ask you to come here. You came here yourself. Blindly coming up with ideas. Still trying to snatch it by force. In the end, he was as miserable as a dog." Huang Bai was embarrassed. His expression changed between green and red. "Since there is no sovereign serendipity, we should part ways," Zhou Xuanji said. Then, he gave Gu Juejiu a look, indicating that he could leave. Huang Bai was very powerful, and he was also a member of the eternal gods. It was too dangerous. Gu Juejiu nodded and left with Zhou Xuanji. But Huang Bai caught up with them and said, "Let's go together. I already know how powerful you are, and you did not play any tricks. If the three of us work together, we will have a greater chance of finding the sovereign's serendipity. It's not so easy to get the sovereign's serendipity. Both you and I need help." Zhou Xuanji was indifferent. Gu Juejiu said disdainfully, "We don't need you. If you continue to follow us, don't blame us for being rude." Huang Bai had to stop as his murderous aura burst forth. Looking at their backs, Huang Bai's face was extremely gloomy. Unstoppable region. Countless creatures surrounded the Eternal God Gate, hesitating whether to enter or not. A group of people with powerful auras flew over suddenly. They were Zhou Tanhua, Zhou Shaoxian, Xian Xianghua, Sovereign Hongchen, and the others. They planned to enter the Eternal God Gate too. Zhou Xuanji had already told them that there was indeed serendipity in the Eternal God Gate. So, Zhou Tanhua spent some time to settle down the Sword Emperor Divine Court before rushing over. "Is that the Eternal God Gate? It's so majestic," Zhou Shaoxian said expectantly. Her eyes were shining. Xiao Jinghong reminded, "Little junior sister, don't act recklessly. Revered teacher said that apart from serendipity, there are also unimaginable dangers inside." "I know, don't worry," Zhou Shaoxian replied casually. Xian Xianghua had the same expression as her, but she was more looking forward to meeting Zhou Xuanji. She felt very unhappy whenever she thought of Zhou Xuanji sneaking into the Eternal God Gate. This brat always left her behind. The group flew into the Eternal God Gate one after another. Their entrance attracted a large number of living beings. Creatures always like to stick together when facing an unknown situation. Only by doing so could they feel more secure. On the plain, Zhou Xuanji and Gu Juejiu were walking side by side. Each of them was playing with a golden stone in their hands. They had picked it up before, and there was a restriction hidden in the stone. Zhou Xuanji suspected that there might be a spirit sea inside, which was similar to a golden artifact. He was constantly trying to break the restriction. Gu Juejiu muttered, "Why do I feel that something is wrong? Is there any danger inside?" They were all eternal beings. Their eternal wills were enough to destroy any existence in the boundless universe, but they could not break the restriction on this stone. It was too ridiculous. Could it be a trap like the stone statue of the ape? Keep it for now. It might be useful later, Zhou Xuanji said with a smile before throwing the golden stone into the supreme storage. Gu Juejiu nodded. At that moment, a terrifying aura came from ahead. The two of them looked up and saw a figure dashing over from the horizon. He was extremely fast. He was like a bolt of lightning, and he came before them in the blink of an eye. Bomb! The two of them were heavily hit in the abdomen, and their bodies flew out like cannonballs. Zhou Xuanji gritted his teeth and looked over. It was a muscular man with a bare upper body. His hair was messy, and his face was jet black. His skin was bronze, and his muscles were extremely exaggerated. Gu Juejiu punched his head, but he did not stop him. "What monster is this?" Gu Juejiu was greatly shocked and instinctively looked toward Zhou Xuanji. In the end, Zhou Xuanji entered the spiritless mode and easily escaped. Gu Juejiu cursed inwardly. He quickly channeled his eternal will into his body and forcefully blocked the dark-faced man. Boom! A horrifying black flame burst out of the dark-faced man's body and soared into the sky. It burned Gu Juejiu's body and caused his soul to escape quickly. What flame is this? Gu Juejiu was filled with fear and terror. Before he could say anything, the dark-faced man charged at him again. This time, Gu Juejiu was completely enraged. "Do you really think I can't deal with you?" Gu Juejiu furiously roared. His soul turned into a fiery spear and stabbed out. A line of fire seemed to appear between the heavens and earth. It disappeared in a flash and pierced through the dark-faced man. Chapter 1079. After Gu Juejiu pierced through the black-faced man, he was still angry. A large hole appeared on the dark-faced man's chest, but the injury was rapidly healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. He twisted his neck and continued to attack Gu Juejiu. His speed was also unbelievably fast. Bang! Gu Juejiu's soul was punched away again. After sliding along the ground for dozens of miles, Gu Juejiu stabilized his body with difficulty. Pfft! Gu Juejiu spat out a mouthful of blood and knelt down. His soul body was flickering between light and dark, as if it could be destroyed at any moment. How could this be? This power. Gu Juejiu gritted his teeth and looked at the black-faced man with fear in his eyes. The other party's strength made him shudder. At this moment, the dark-faced man mixed in and charged toward Zhou Xuanji. Zhou Xuanji was already prepared for battle. He entered the eternal state straightaway, and his body radiated with a brilliant divine light. Numerous swords of light appeared around him, overlapping into a three-dimensional sword flower. All the divine swords fused into his body, and two long swords appeared in his hands. His aura was terrifying. He immediately entered his strongest state to face the dark-faced man. Because this guy was very strong. It was strong enough for him to face it with his full strength. Bang! A silver radiance exploded from Zhou Xuanji's body and swept across the heavens and earth. The dark-faced man was slowed down by the silver light. In an instant, the world was occupied by countless sword shadows. Delusion Sword C. The dark-faced man was only slowed down, but he was not stopped. He continued to charge toward Zhou Xuanji. Zhou Xuanji swung his sword, and countless sword shadows shot toward the dark-faced man. Boom! 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 The ground was bombarded. The dark-faced man began running toward Zhou Xuanji while dodging left and right. Even when he was hit by the sword shadows, he was not injured at all. Like a bolt of black lightning, it sped away. Zhou Xuanji quickly swung his sword, and massive silver Buddhas were slashed out one after another. They looked like afterimages, and all of them crashed into the dark-faced man. The black-faced man was incomparably domineering. He relied on his fists to smash the giant silver Buddhas one after another. In the blink of an eye, he arrived before Zhou Xuanji. No matter how powerful Zhou Xuanji was, he directly punched out. Bang! This punch landed on Zhou Xuanji's face and sent him flying. The dark-faced man continued to pursue Zhou Xuanji. Zhou Xuanji suddenly disappeared while he was flying backward. Ethereal state. Just when he entered the pale space, Zhou Xuanji instinctively turned around. Another punch. The dark-faced man sent Zhou Xuanji flying out from spiritless mode. Zhou Xuanji smashed through the ground, kicking up clouds of dust. The black-faced man appeared out of thin air. Just as he was about to land on the ground, a huge flaming palm that seemed as if it was about to break the vault of heaven came slamming down. Countless vengeful spirits swayed in the flames, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws, wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. The dark-faced man punched out. The terrifying fist wind directly tore the huge flaming palm into pieces. Gu Juejiu's expression changed drastically. Before he could react, he was blown away by the palm wind. Just as he came back to his senses, the black-faced man descended from the sky, stepping on him as he fell to the ground. The ground collapsed, and rubble flew everywhere. In the dust, the black-faced man raised his right fist and was ready to kill Gu Juejiu. Wait! You can kill me, but you have to give me a reason. Gu Juejiu shouted angrily. With his level of cultivation, if not for the restrictions of the Eternal God Gate, he could destroy an entire universe with a single thought. But facing the black-faced man, he was beaten to the point where he had no strength to fight back. You took His Majesty's treasure and ran away. The black-faced man said with a hoarse voice. Gu Juejiao was stunned and said in astonishment, "You can speak? Wait. I didn't take it. It's him. And I was never captured by Wushang Heaven." He pushed the blame to Zhou Xuanji straightaway. On the other side, Zhou Xuanji, who had just climbed out of the cave, heard his words and was speechless. What a traitor! The black-faced man looked down at Gu Juejiao and said calmly, "It's not Wushang Heaven. My Majesty is Great Emperor Demonic Yong." Gu Juejiao was stunned again. He immediately took out the golden stone that he picked up earlier and cried out, "Is it this one? Take it back." After that, he threw the golden stone to the black-faced man. The black-faced man caught it and turned to leave. Seeing him walking over, Zhou Xuanji immediately took out his own golden stone and threw it back to him. After the black-faced man caught it, he looked back at Gu Juejiao and then at Zhou Xuanji. He seemed to be hesitating whether to kill the two of them or not. Zhou Xuanji and Gu Juejiao were on tenterhooks. "Forget it. Since you have just arrived, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't try to find the sovereign's serendipity. Extreme serendipity also represents extreme misfortune." The black-faced man left these words and left. Zhou Xuanji frowned. Was he bluffing them or was he serious? Gu Juejiao heaved a long sigh. He came to Zhou Xuanji's side quickly and mumbled, "Great Emperor Demonic Yong. Where have I heard of him?" He began to think hard. Soon, he opened his eyes wide and cried out while clapping his hands, "So it's him. How can it be?" "Who?" "Gu's sovereign's teacher." Zhou Xuanji was shocked. Gu's sovereign's teacher? How ancient was that almighty being? He did not doubt it but shook his head and said, "The eternal divine gate is too dangerous. Let's not grow more powerful first. We are not qualified to find the sovereign's serendipity yet." Having heard this, Gu Juejiao's face turned ugly, but he still nodded. "Let's work together. At least we can take care of each other." Gu Juejiao continued to speak. In order to survive, what was taking revenge for his son? He had many sons anyway. Zhou Xuanji hesitated for a while but did not reject him. Take the situation just now for example. If he was alone, he might have been killed instantly. Although Gu Juejiao pushed the blame to Zhou Xuanji in the end, he did not run away but fought alongside him. But if he could not defeat Zhou Xuanji, he would have died. And so, the two recovered and continued on their way. With Zhou Xuanji's suggestion, they began to jump down to the lower realm. Each realm had a special world jumping point. There were many world jumping points. They were located in mid-air. Looking closely, they looked like balls of golden radiance. They jumped down all the way. After jumping 8 realms, the two finally stopped. This realm was extremely hot. The 18 suns shone brightly, and the ground was covered in flames. Even the space was rippling. Zhou Xuanji was pleasantly surprised. Although it was hot, the spiritual qi here was even denser than in the upper realm. Strange, why didn't I pass by here before? Gu Juejiao frowned with a strange expression. Zhou Xuanji landed and began to absorb the spiritual qi here. Gu Juejiao wandered around. After walking for hundreds of miles, Gu Juejiao suddenly stopped and opened his eyes wide. All sorts of ancient swords were pierced into the ground in front of him. They were densely packed and extended to the horizon. Could it be another treasure of a powerful cultivator? Gu Juejiao frowned. Even though he was curious, he did not dare to go forward. At this moment, a silhouette dashed over from another direction. That person was wearing white clothes. Huang Bai. Along the way, he pulled out an ancient sword and charged toward Gu Juejiao. "Brother, we meet again. We are fated," Huang Bai said excitedly. Gu Juejiao's expression changed drastically and quickly retreated.